Yeah, look at you, Peter. You look like
Distinguished.
like you're about to
Thank you very much.
yeah, you're like distinguished, and you look like you're a tuna fisherman or something. In a
Well,
good
I
way.
don't know. You say this. My daughter says that I look old.
Yeah.
Distinguished.
I'll
Yeah.
go with
I
distinguished.
got mine grown
Yeah.
a little bit. Look good. Even
Hey,
a little gray going on.
yeah, we're all trying to keep up with Peter.
Well, then you got to spray paint it white.
Hi, Mayor.
Okay, is that the secret?
Sure.
All right, now we know.
Yeah.
Yes, actually, I have very dark hair.
I know. I did not know your secret. Now I know. I can't hear you, Peter. You're just like frozen.
No, no response to that one.
Yeah, you were frozen. Your Wi-Fi or
okay.
something. We have no reception from you. Barely.
Why should this Zoom meeting be unlike every other Zoom meeting where people are frozen half the time? They sound like they're underwater the other half the time.
Right. We don't appear to have an extraordinary long.
Nope.
Okay. So we're just waiting on the mayor. I think.
Correct.
Okay. The mayor should be here soon.
Is he in traffic?
No, he was
Oh.
looking for the he was looking for the address to the Zoom meeting.
Uh-huh.
Okay,
uh-huh.
let me. All right, he's coming in now.
Yeah, if you want to,
There he is.
Let me
if you
fix.
want the flag, here's the flag.
I think he's muted though.
Yep, he's.
Oh, there you go. Thanks,
If you
Abraham.
want a flag, here's the flag.
There we go. All
Thank you.
right.
Okay, I'm back. Okay,
Hi.
who do we have? We have everybody. We have Bart.
Steven.
Yeah.
Steven's
Somebody.
And Annie's here too.
And he's here.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Very good. So I hope everyone's well. Everyone looks good. Steve even got a haircut. Nice. Nice.
Yeah.
Steve.
I wouldn't say nice, but I got a haircut.
Well,
My
I
wife
don't
gave
know
me a haircut.
What?
My wife gave it to me. I was desperate.
Well, listen. I know. Last time I saw you, you looked like you needed one. This looks better
Yeah.
by the way.
Thank you. Thank you.
So I hope everyone's well. I know we're going to have a very quick meeting regarding the 2 items, right? So that's it. Abraham, you want to start?
Mayor, there was a request before you coming that maybe we should start the meeting with the pledge.
I would love to do that. I don't have the flag.
It's funny that you should mention that.
What?
Funny you should mention that.
Okay. Do we have the flag?
I can
Yeah,
put
I
it
go.
if you would like.
Yeah.
There you
Oh, wow. Okay. Okay. Let's begin.
Oh.
I
Pledge
allegiance to the flag
to the flag of the United
United
States,
States of America, the republic
the republic
Stands.
for which
for
it
which it
stands,
stands, one nation,
Under God.
under God,
Indivisible.
indivisible,
Liberty,
liberty,
with
and
liberty and
justice
justice
for
for
all.
Okay. So I hope we don't have to continue this kind of a meeting, but I guess that was the right thing to do, and I appreciate whoever came up with that idea of having the Pledge of Allegiance in the beginning. So thanks a lot. Let's begin with I think you have the agenda up. I know we have the minutes.
Just give me one moment. I'll put it up in a second. I believe it's this one.
Well, I just want to say some good news.
Sorry.
I had a conversation with Executive Corn. Nassau County is doing great. The number of the hospitalizations have gone down significantly, and the number of patients that are testing positive has also gone down significantly. We both do believe that we are on the
Downward.
part of the
Descending.
curve. And I think I wanted to appreciate all those people who have really hunkered down at home and abiding by the social distancing. I'm hoping that the governor and the state can come up with quicker quicker way of opening the economy by new regulations, and I'm hoping that that can happen soon. Apparently, we are all frustrated in the local governments, and we are all looking to their leadership. This has caused significant burden on many people who are not working and aren't able to collect unemployment. So we are working, I'm working with, just wanted to let you know that I'm working with Nassau County. I'm trying to get the taxes delayed as far back as we can. Unfortunately, we have not heard anything from the governor as of today. We sent them a letter last week. There are other frustrated mayors out there who have done the same for their constituents. These are difficult times. We do believe that the state, the governor really should heed our request and try to delay these collections even for a few weeks. That said, also I wanted to say that this is not really going to take away from the money that is being, the taxes that are being sent to the state. It is extremely local in villages and towns. And again, I'm pleading to the governor to please listen to your constituents and the mayors who are really desperately trying to help their constituents delay these taxes in these very, very difficult times.
Okay, the minutes are up.
We have 3 items on the meeting before the public comment. The minutes for April 21st, April 28th meeting. A copy of the minutes are here for your review.
Yeah, I'll move those minutes.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Annie, are you there? I think you're muted.
Annie?
Would you like me to contact her?
No, Annie's not muted.
But I did get a text message. She says I
Oh.
said aye.
Yeah, she says aye.
Okay.
Okay.
That was the first set for the 21st. This is the second set for the 28th, minutes of the 28th meeting.
Okay.
Abraham, you checked all the numbers on the meeting, on the minutes?
Yes.
And I will move it.
Second,
All in favor?
All in favor?
aye.
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 Right.
Annie? Is Annie, I don't,
And Annie, we still can't hear you if you want to send it in
Annie's
chat.
here, but she sent a thumbs
Touch the
up.
bottom
or-
of your screen, of your phone. Tell her to touch the bottom of her phone.
let's give it a thumbs up. Well, we have 3 out of, yeah, no.
Okay. The next item is the abstract for this Friday. That,
It's gonna be hard to do without Annie.
right, we need, trustee
Oh,
Mendo.
here she is. She thinks that she's muted.
That you
No,
muted.
I will mute you and unmute you.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yeah, now I
Ah.
can hear you.
Okay,
Yes.
I said aye to everything.
Okay.
Okay, I had a couple of questions. I tried. I think you just muted me again. Did you?
No,
Did you?
no.
Yep.
No, we hear you.
Yeah, we
Okay.
hear
Hear
you.
you.
Okay, there was something. This is a trivial thing, but were there 2 letters that were sent? You know, I saw 2 letters sent to the state and to the Department of Homeland Security. I mean, I understand, you know, in regards to the taxes and the masks, but what was sent to the Department of Homeland Security?
The state of emergency declared by the mayor before the governor stated, the very first week, when this pandemic happened, there was no issue of gathering. So mayor actually declared the state of emergency in the village, banning all the gathering
Okay,
and
got
saving
it.
lives. We had to file that with the Department of Homeland Security.
I didn't realize that. Okay, that was one. There was also, what is FFCRA? It was on one of the Peter B. bills.
Yeah,
US
FFCA is one of the new federal laws that they have enacted with respect to paid leave, both sick leave and family leave.
Oh, I see. Okay. And, okay.
If-
So
if you have the-
I'll make a motion. I have no other
That's one of
questions. I'm sorry, were you saying something?
Yeah, if you read the sentence to me from the bill, I could probably tell you more specifically, but that's one of the new federal laws.
Hold on. You had 2, there were 2 in there, and 2 selections of bills. I'm just looking to see. It must have been, give me 1 second.
Yeah, it's known as the Families First Coronavirus Response Act.
Oh, got it. Okay, got it. Oh, there it is. Draft revised memorandum on FFCRA in connection with expansive DOL, so that's Department of Labor, regulations interpreting same.
Correct.
Okay, so I'll make a motion to accept the abstract.
Second,
All in favor?
aye.
Thank you. Brian, if you could please open for the public comment.
Well, can I say something before we open to public comment? I sent I appreciate what the mayor said regarding, the fact that there are a fewer number of admissions, and I'm happy about that. But it doesn't mean that we're out of the woods, and I think people still need to practice social distancing. And, I think I sent, some photographs to some of the board members of something that I've observed almost every night when I walk past the Parkwood Pool parking lot. And and today was like the highest number of cars that I've seen there. Many cars with, with high school kids hanging out, and they're close. I mean, from the pictures that I sent you, you could see
Are they
that
wearing masks?
they were not wearing masks. And they were not 6 feet away from each other. I wouldn't object to having like a tailgate party where people are in their cars and a distance away from each other, but they're not. They're out of their cars and they're, socializing. And it's done in a public place. I see it every night, to varying degrees. In the colder weather, I didn't see it as much, but today was a beautiful weather day. And I think, something should be said so that people observe this and they're aware of it. It's one thing, when I walked through the park, I saw people sitting, but they had kerchiefs over their face if they were close to each other. They were several feet away, but they had kerchiefs on their face. Here, they were a foot away from each other and nothing. So I think it's something that we should, comment on and
Right.
be aware of.
I agree with you. I think the social distancing order is still in effect. The face mask order, if you cannot have social distancing outside, is still in effect. I was just, again, we have to realize that the congratulations is due when it's due. And I do believe that a significant majority of people in Great Neck and apparently Nassau County, again, I would just talk about Great Neck, a significant majority have been abiding by these social distancing and the masks. And that's why the numbers have not really risen. And the number of the new cases have gone down significantly. That is one thing that we need to really stay on top of, is to make sure that people don't get laxed about the social distancing and really continue. One thing I wanted to say though, psychologically, I do hear from many people that because there is no end at sight, that unfortunately the governor is still not giving a date and it keeps getting pushed back. Many people will give up and start acting the way they shouldn't be because they're putting themselves and other people's lives at risk. So my recommendation, my request, and I believe the board agrees with me, is we still recommending social distancing. We still recommend wearing your mask when you're going to closed areas for shopping. And also when you're outside walking and you cannot maintain social distancing, we are still requesting everyone to abide by those things. But that said, I'm hoping that if someone has the governor's ear, that it's extremely difficult for people to be hunkered down. We have to realize that many people did not really leave their houses almost the entire winter, starting November. So we have November, December, January, February, March, and April, and May, and now we may go into June. That's almost 6 months or so that people are sitting home. It is not difficult, and it's extremely difficult. I'm sorry, and unfortunately, Annie, you have to realize that things like this will happen.
Right, but we're not talking about people who are in their homes since November. We're talking about kids. And, there should be some awareness.
They don't get outside. They go to school, but they don't really, they couldn't hang out. And now it's finally the weather is getting nice. And again, I'm not condoning it at all. I don't be doing it. And I have been posting and discussing it as often as I could, that people should really stay home or go for a walk and do abide by the social distancing, as I have, my family has, and I think most people that I know have. But that said, I'm not going to throw everything that other people have done in order to bring the numbers down under the bus just because few people try or do things that are incorrect. So those people need to be reprimanded, but I think other people that have been abiding by the law should be congratulated, and that was my message. Anyway, any public comments?
Okay, David had some public comments or questions. David, just for the record, please state your name and address.
It's Lenziger, 15 Beach Road. I have a couple of questions and a comment. First, from the last meeting, I'd asked if we had an idea if there have been cases or any problems at the Great Neck Senior Citizen Apartments at the Village Green. And I'm wondering if any of you have bothered to find out.
Right, so I did call the chair lady and have not gotten anything back from her yet. I left her a message and I'm waiting for her to call back. So she has not responded yet. Before, as I spoke to you, when I spoke to her, she said that she's in constant contact with them and she has not heard of any yet. But this week I have not heard back from her.
Thank you. I hope, though, that we continue to persist and we get an answer back. Another question that I had is,
David, do you know of any? Have
no,
you heard
I
of
don't.
any?
I don't. But since I walk past there, both, I walk every day. If I
Yeah, but you're not going to catch it by walking past there.
No. But I see some of the residents and others in the back and occasionally sitting in the front, sometimes
That's
with their
okay.
aides. But I'm just concerned, and that's another question, though, but dealing with COVID. You notice from the Nassau County Health Department, when they have the statistics, that our village ranks relatively high among the incidents per thousand of cases. We're at around 22 per thousand. I think Saddle Rock is a bit higher at around 25. Whereas communities like Garden City are at 9 or Mill Neck are at 7. And I'm wondering why is our village apparently so high? We're lower than places like Freeport, but we're relatively high in the county.
The plaza is similarly high.
Yes, I know that, but I don't live there.
I would think that the density has something to do with that.
Okay, good reason.
I actually, I disagree there. Kings Point is or was higher than Great Neck Village for a while. It's got much lower density. I just think it has to do with the nature of, number one, how much testing was done. It has to do with socioeconomic factors, as we've learned, unfortunately. It has to do with many different things. And I don't think that because any particular, I mean, if you go to the southern villages, the South Shore villages, they've gotten hammered and you could draw lines straight across the South Shore to much higher percentages.
I've seen that. I realize that.
Okay,
But I
so
don't
I think
live
our
in
village, our village is actually, I think it did tick up, but that's because of the increase in testing and because it's cumulative. And so over time, it ticked up a little bit, but I think that we've done okay.
All right.
I think also you have to, based on, I missed a couple of answers, but we are definitely more concentrated than other places like Kings Point. There are many people that commute from Great Neck to the city, and unfortunately the regulation about masks and face covering was not really enforced in the public
Wasn't implemented.
transportation. So many people probably got it in those things. And also, you know what, there were this is a community that is very close knit, so that could be another reason. But regardless, I think since we started this sort of a lockdown, semi-lockdown in Great Neck, we significantly decreased the number of the spread. And I think we are under 200 as of a couple of days ago. It's 180.
Thank God. I'm very happy about that. I have a totally separate question, mainly for Abraham, and that is, given that we're now continuing in the lockdown, what's the village's financial status? Are there funds to keep functions going? And how frequently do you get reimbursed or remittances from the town tax receiver?
We don't get anything from the town, basically. As you have seen in the budget, everything comes from the village taxes,
Right.
as well as some revenue. The two big sources of revenue are building department fees, as well as the court receipts. both have been down. There are no permits issued. There are very little source of revenue coming in from parking tickets or the court. But as I've mentioned in the past, we have healthy level of reserve that we can rely on. Also, there's another thing to mention. As our revenue have gone down, the expenses also have gone down because we are now we are basically operating on a half staff. That doesn't mean that the staff are not getting paid. It's just there are less people and less work has been done. For example, in the DPW, the expenses are significantly lower than what it used to be, just because we don't have enough staff to perform them, and therefore it has been basically they are gone down to essentials, which is sanitation, cleaning the streets, and if there's any emergency repairs, that's are basically that been done.
Well, you can see because the village looks good and it's very obvious that these services are being maintained. And I'm just hopeful that when things go back to normal, cash flow will improve. And I also had one more question. Once again, I noticed one of the trustees is missing. And I'm wondering why that is and why that seems to be. All you have to do is call in with the telephone.
Okay.
I don't have an answer. I didn't speak to him.
All right. Well, we note that. Anyone else has any public comments?
Yes, Judy Hoffman, 49 Arundel Avenue. We had
Thank
asked
you.
permission of the board to put an above-ground pool up 2 weeks ago. And we had given some permit papers and insurance papers to Steve Haramis. But we have been kind of stuck now because he's asked for a flat plan and they're exceptionally expensive, especially for an above-ground pool that's only going to be temporary for one summer. And we were hoping to have maybe that condition waived if that was possible.
To have a survey?
We gave him a survey, but he wanted a plot plan by an architect, which will cost anywhere from $2,000 to $4,000
For an outdoor,
for an above-ground pool
above ground pool.
for one summer, yes.
Is that to show the location of the pool?
We
Yeah,
drew a sketch, our own sketch of where it would be placed, but a professional plan would cost $2,000 to $4,000, and the project itself is going to be $8,500. So it's not really
would the
feasible.
Mrs. Hoffman, would the pool company be able to provide a plan? Like if we got them a copy of your survey?
We sent them a copy, I believe.
We
Or a
sent
sketch or
the
something?
board, the Steve Haramis a copy of our
We also
survey.
sent the pool.
And we sent the pool people a copy, I believe, of our survey. But I can't really ask them to do anything else. They've been very cooperative in sending their insurance papers and filling out the permit. And since I haven't given them a penny because I don't want to give them any money unless I feel this is really going to come to fruition, I can,
Waiting for the board too.
we're kind of hoping on the board to give us a little leeway.
Well,
I don't know if we're
unfortunately,
allowed to. I would ask
Right.
Peter, but I don't think we can.
Peter?
Well, I guess in the first instance, I think you need to hear from Steve as to specifically what requirement he's imposing and why. It's hard to deal with the question without Steve's input on that.
Let me ask the council, would the board be able to give me the latitude to speak to Steve, and if we can discuss it in a way, if there is a need for the board approval, would the board be okay with an approval being given for them to be able to have this without, if the law allows, obviously, for the resident to be able to have the above ground pool without going through the extra expense of having a architectural
Plot plan, architectural plot plan.
drawing. Right. As long as it meets the required setbacks, if the board is okay, I'll.
Well, they already
discuss it.
gave us the dimensions. If you recall, they said it was
I
4.
really think I'd like to hear from Steve first.
Uh-huh.
Right.
Anything that you can do, we would appreciate it.
The question is this, Bart, if Steve is not on, and the board has to vote, is the board willing to vote in order for this to happen if it's allowed by?
I would say yes, provided all other requirements are met regarding setbacks and
Right.
security
They need to-
fencing and everything.
I think the only thing we are requesting is for the architectural plan not to be drawn and just use the
Survey.
drawing, the survey that currently exists.
If I may, if I remember, Mrs. Hoffman, I believe the setback from the rear yard might encroach, if I remember correctly. It's you have proposed 12 feet.
We have approximately 12 feet, of which 5 feet are dense bushes and shrubs. And we have pictures of the yard to indicate that it's really not visible from the back neighbor because of the foliage that's already there. But it is a little bit short of the code requirements. But, you know, we were asking if that one exception could be waived. And we're waiting for a decision from you. And if you want to speak to Mr. Haramis first, and you can abide by whatever his decision is.
I don't know why it's getting frozen.
Well,
I hear him.
the code does authorize the Board of Trustees to permit accessory swimming pools. However, there are requirements such as the area of the pool not occupying more than 25% of an unoccupied area of the rear yard, things of that nature. So
But
I'm just,
Peter, that's for
think
permanent pool,
useful
not
to hear.
that's for a permanent pool, not for a overground pool that is temporary for one summer.
The pool will occupy approximately less than 10% of the backyard. And
No,
having read through
I
the
was
village,
saying,
yeah,
I was simply commenting illustratively that there are conditions, and I just don't know without Mr. Haramis what it is that he's seeking by way of the plot plan to determine. So if the board will authorize the mayor to speak with the superintendent and to authorize him to work out an arrangement with the superintendent, subject to any code restrictions, I think that would be appropriate.
Okay, thank you.
that would be fine.
That
Thank
would
you
be
very
fine.
much.
Thanks for your consideration. Okay.
Is the board willing to make that motion?
Yes.
Yes, I make a motion if you want.
Okay, so Steve made the motion and he seconded it. Bart, do you have any comments on it?
No.
Okay. Can we vote?
Yes.
You know what?
Yeah.
I keep getting frozen. So can I hear the motion again?
Yeah, Annie made the motion, Steve seconded it. And if no comment, I just want to know if we can vote so we can help this.
I don't know what the motion
Bart-
is.
Bart would like to
I-
hear the motion.
The motion. The motion
motion-
was for the board to authorize me to figure out a way with the superintendent. So if there are any, it can be done without jeopardizing the code, that we can come up with some way of
Okay.
doing it. And that's it. So we don't have to meet again in 2 weeks before we give him an answer.
I have no comments.
All right, all in
Did you
agreement?
take a vote yet?
Yes, we're taking a vote now.
Yes.
Annie?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, so we all in agreement. Okay. All right, so we'll get back to you hopefully tomorrow or the next day.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
You're welcome. Any other public comments?
I have a question. Did I come on?
Who's
Yes.
there? Just state your name and address for the record, please.
Deanne Rafael, 107th Street.
Thank you.
I have a question. What is going on with 11 Arundel? 11 Arundel has been a disaster for years. You don't even see it when you drive down the street. All you see is foliage. Is it on the tax rolls? Do we get anything for it? It's a huge piece of property, and I don't understand. Anybody ever paying attention to it? Probably never seen it. It's across from Great Neck House.
I think there was a fire in that house and then they fixed it up. I don't know what
Fixed
happened.
it up.
I missed what you said, Deanne.
Pardon me? What'd you say?
Brian, I would like to ask you
Yeah.
if you can look into it with Steve tomorrow.
I
And
mean,
just
this
find out
is
what's going on and just report.
years and years and years.
Okay, this is the first time again, I believe this is the first time it has brought up to our board. Again, I will find out exactly what the story with it is and
Very curious.
if
I
you
mean,
can report.
it's a real it's a good taxpayer piece of property, and it's just sitting there.
Right, well, I don't know what's going on with it, so we'll look into it and we'll have an answer by next meeting. But hopefully we can address the issue by tomorrow this week.
Okay, and
Thank you, thank you.
I have one other question.
Yes.
We really need a stop sign at the corner of Church and Beach. You cannot see when you drive down that street on the right hand as you're going up Beach toward Middle Neck. You cannot see when you come to Church Street. People come out of the church, which I understand when there's services, and we can't cross because you can't. There's no way, but that's not even the problem. I'm just afraid of an accident. Take a ride and you'll see what I'm talking about.
Bart, you're close to that area, aren't you?
Never saw anybody on the corner she's talking about.
Annie and
But
Bart?
he lives the other way.
Oh,
I
I think
leave
we
the
lost
other way.
Bart. We lost Bart there for a second. He's coming back in now.
Okay.
Are you asking for a stop sign to be placed on Church or
On Church.
on Church? Okay.
There is
But
one on
is-
Beach. There is one on Beach.
There is
But
one
you
on
need
Beach.
one
That's what I was going to say. So I just want to understand. I don't think that's a bad idea. Is Louis on the call?
Louis is not on today.
Not on.
We can-
I mean, I can understand your concern. I mean, last week we added a stop sign on the corner of Orchard with a similar issue where, people were not necessarily stopping, on the side streets. So I understand your point. And especially, there's that apartment building on the right hand side.
Where's this?
On Church.
and Beach.
Where are we talking
Church and
about?
Beach. It's right by, on the corner.
Right.
Right.
Church and Beach is unusual because there's a stop sign on Beach, but not one on Church.
But you can't see when you drive down
And
Beach,
Lou,
drive up Beach.
I don't know, he had some issue with it years ago when I asked this question.
And I mean,
but
and also,
I-
there's a stop sign on the other side of the, actually of St. Aloysius, a stop sign there, which is useless now because there's no school and you have to stop.
Right,
I mean, that one should either be a drop
yeah,
down. or
that should
take
be
a turn.
removed. That one should be removed, right.
All right, so let's
So-
discuss these two issues with Louis. Hopefully we can address it and have an answer by next meeting.
Okay.
Any other public comments?
I'm going to unmute the group. If anybody else would like to make any comments,
All right,
I don't have anybody else.
all right,
Uh,
that's the
and
case.
if-
Go ahead. Bart?
Just telling everybody should get out and look at the full moon tonight. It's beautiful.
Yes, and you know what?
Can you hear-
One of the good thing about the COVID was that everyone stayed home, and I think Earth is breathing. And the skies look a lot better, and everything looks a lot nicer. So I think the trees are happier. Everyone's happy. Not everyone. The nature is happy. Anyway, be well, stay safe, everybody. And
Stay safe.
all right,
Thank you.
Thank
bye-bye.
you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.